All right. Cigarette. Drag. Ah, yes. The beginning of the adventure. Always so whimsical and carefree. Before the shit hits the fan and all hell breaks loose. The good news is, you hear my voice right now, which means that Joel and I didn't get murdered. Well, Joel, here we are, down on the beautiful island of Puerto Rico of beautiful brown women and sandy beaches, and we're down here to ask people about the power grid failures that the island has been experiencing for the past 8 years after Hurricane Maria in 2017. The power grid, PREPA, has been bankrupt since July of 2017. They've been going through bankruptcy proceedings and experiencing rolling blackouts ever since then. And in 2020, the island got the biggest FEMA expenditure they've ever been given, but they can't access any of that money because of the bankruptcy proceedings. So we want to talk to people that are being affected by the power grid, Puerto Ricans affected by the power grid.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you see that, Joe?
Rich, poor, suburbs, tourism areas, everywhere. How do we fix the Puerto Rican power grid?
Well, Uncle Harry Potter come in with a magic wand.
And find out what it's really like and how bad it actually is. Because I don't think really many people know about this. So we gotta go meet these guys over at this breakfast place right now. They're gonna be our Gonzo guides.
Yourself a satchel?
You want some new tonic? They got 3 new tonic powders in it. Here.
We were down here to investigate the power grid. So, I'd lined up a meeting with some local contacts I met through a crypto scammer back on the mainland. My God, look at this guy. Just having a blast. I could already tell I was gonna love it here. Anyway, the gentlemen we're meeting are supposed to be pretty well connected on the island, but I've been burned before. Let's hope these guys are legit. Now, we didn't know it at the time, but this guy, David Frontetta, would become one of our most valuable island assets. Besides Lulu, of course, but you'll meet her later. The gents laid down the law of the island for us. Do's and don'ts, local customs and the such. We were told specifically to avoid a neighborhood called La Perla. Apparently an American was set on fire there a few years back. Not to mention the tourist who was shot and killed there the day we landed.
A tourist from New York was shot and killed.
Why did I get the feeling our journey would take us to La Perla? David was pretty well connected with the local community. He invited us to a local charter school where we'd have access to interview teachers about how power problems affect the children's education. Oh yeah, and he introduced me to another David. After fucking around with this grown man's huge conch, we sat down for a chit-chat about the nonprofit David and his wife Diana operate for orphans on the island.
I work a lot with boys from the public housing. 98% they don't have a dad, and they live with the mom. And the mom is a single mom, and she either goes to school or works. He's being raised by himself. It's a problem because this kid is alone in a house with no electricity.
They have no male role models, so the streets end up becoming their male role model.
We feed a lot of these kids. So let's just say we do like a grocery shopping and they're set for a good month, but then all of a sudden a blackout would happen. Now their meat's gone bad. It's a terrible scenario, you know?
Public housing, they don't allow gas stoves. So whenever there's an outage, then they can cook. Their electrical equipment in their house gets ruined from the surges. As a matter of fact, I think there's documented cases where there's been people up on a mountain that they need dialysis and there's no electricity and they have died. Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, Bad Bunny, they go to a public housing and they give out, music instruments or soccer balls, but there's a lot more they could do. They sing a lot about Puerto Rico, but what are they doing? It's an issue that kids, moms, older people should not be going through. And they're still working on it, but it's been a long time.
Why is that not getting fixed?
I think a lot has to do with different companies trying to obtain contracts with the government, and then they're waiting for a certain political party to be in power, and then I get the contract, and then somebody else wanted the contract, and they'll put an injunction to block, so I think it's because of money.
Mr. Conchman here is right. It's all about money. In 2016, Puerto Rico was over $72 billion in debt. with the island's electric company, PREPA, contributing $9 billion of debt themselves. On June 30th, 2016, President Obama, along with Congress, created the Financial Oversight and Management Board through the PROMESA Act to manage Puerto Rico's debt crisis. With FOMB oversight, PREPA officially entered Title III bankruptcy proceedings on July 2nd, 2017. Just 2 months later, Hurricane Maria would obliterate an already antiquated power grid. Essentially, 100% of the island lost power, and it would take a full year for it to get restored. Since then, blackouts and power surges have become a regular occurrence. In 2020, the Trump administration announced the release of $13 billion in FEMA funds for the island, $9.6 billion of which were obligated to PREPA. It was, and remains, the largest public assistance grant for a single project in United States history. Fast forward to present day. Despite receiving the largest FEMA obligation in American history, power problems persist. Why? After talking with our island connections, I realized there was more to this Puerto Rican power problem than meets the eyeball. We were going to need to extend this trip. It's time to do what we do.
So we're gonna go back to the hotel here, put together a game plan later tonight, hit the Bible study, talk to them about how the power is affecting them, go to the school tomorrow, because obviously no power, no school. It's like David said, it's dumbing down the population quite literally, and then potentially go to Perla, potentially go out to the mountains, and it's been 8 years. So think about everything we just learned, these people have been dealing with for 8 years. What were we doing 8 years ago? I don't even think I was in J school yet 8 years ago. My entire career, these people have had no power here. You know, rolling blackouts and having to operate off of generators ever since Hurricane Maria, 2017. That is insane. How often are there blackouts?
Sometimes I don't have electricity like 2 days, 3 days.
And nothing's gotten better?
Before Maria.
It was happening before that?
We have problem with the lights. The people that are working with the lights right now, we have LUMA, it's the same thing.
But it's the same problem? So there was the problem with the power grid before the hurricane. Then the hurricane made it worse. And then a new company comes in and nothing changes. It's the exact same problem.
And we pay more for the light.
You're paying more now with the same exact problem?
Yes, we pay more.
So they brought in a new company to make more money.
Generadores.
What does that mean?
That you could buy that you put gas and...
Generator, yeah.
Generator.
Everybody has generators now?
Everybody has to buy it. I pay $300 for that.
We were just in the Uber on the way over here to get this rental car, and the lady who was driving us, she didn't want to be on camera, but she told us that when the hurricane hit, she didn't have power for 4 months, and she had to sleep in line at Home Depot to get a generator for 3 days. And she didn't want to talk about it. That's what I was getting at. Yeah. She didn't even want to talk about this because she's scared of the power company. But we'll talk about it. Yeah. Oh, God. All right, let's get this rental car. And that's been happening for the past 8 years, right? Basically since the hurricane, or was it happening before that?
Really? It's been a problem ever since I was alive.
Because the electrical system here is antiquated. It has still.
It's old.
1940s to 1950s.
Could we interview you about that on camera for this video we're making?
Sure. When?
Shit, right now if you want.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, cool. Fuck you.
Our system here is either you're gonna get solar panels, and you gotta pay them, and if you don't pay them, the clause says they could take your house. Like, let's say, okay, I don't want the power grid. I want, I'm gonna just stick with my generator. The generator is like an engine. You have to maintain it, and if it blows up, you don't have no energy.
On the way over here, we were in an Uber, and the lady said that when the hurricane hit, she didn't have power for 4 months, and she had to wait in line to get a generator at Home Depot for 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
And then basically...
price gouging, everything. Generator went from $300 to $1,000, and so what people were doing was they were shipping them here. You go and have a friend or family member buy it in the U.S., and you ship it here, and that's it.
And they were running their houses entirely off these generators, which how much that cost a week?
Anywhere from $250 to $300, easy.
So $1,200 a month. How much does rent cost here for the average person, would you say?
I would say 800 to 1,200.
So the cost to run the generator was more than the rent?
This is how it goes. It goes, hey, your generator runs, you hear that noise all day. It drives you freaking insane. You can't sleep properly because you don't have one and your friend does and the other guy does. So you're sleeping in between two generators. Now now that's gonna drive you crazy. And now you gotta go in line, wait in line for gas. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna go get gas and pump and go. No, there's 300 people you're waiting in line and you're sitting there for hours at a time. And then go home and you gotta take a shower and the water pressure is just like a little sock where you gotta literally like take it. So for the hurricane, it was horrible, man.
How long did that go on?
For me personally, I had no light for like 4.5 months and water for like 2.5 months.
What you get, bud?
Oh, I take pictures of stuff.
I mean, I'm probably gonna. I mean, they forced me to get insurance, so I might as well crash into it.
If we fuck it up, we got to come back here or be in a place that looks like it's here and then do it.
It'll probably be here when we're back. We'll just take a picture of it. Dude, we're doing that thing again where we're filming ourselves committing crimes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, baby, we're back! We're gonna save the day! Alright, where do we go, man? You wanna get a cold beer?
I'm hungry.
We go to the beach? These are the guys that are gonna save the power grid? Give me a break. First spot up was the Bible study, but before that, we decided to mingle with the locals, see where their heads are at.
Hey, almost.
Power grid over here, one of the most expensive electric grids. You pay a lot more than the States over here for power. And for nothing, man, we get outages here every day.
When's the last time there was a power outage that was for 24 hours?
Bro, yesterday. The water was actually leaving because of that, so people had no water too. People are disliking with LUMA right now.
We keep hearing that name, LUMA. Who are they? Owned 50% by Houston-based Quanta Services and 50% by Canadian utility company ATCO, LUMA Energy is the name on Puerto Rican electric bills. The Canadian-American joint venture was created after PREPA went bankrupt with the sole purpose of repairing and modernizing the island's electric grid. However, since taking over for PREPA in 2021, many Puerto Ricans claim power problems have persisted or even worsened, while the cost of electricity has increased. Men in disguise. What do you think about the power grid? So I told you we were looking into the power grid stuff.
Fucking sucks. Fuck LUMA. They say they're like making it better, but we see no difference. In the rural parts of the island, people are still out of power. People are losing their food. Most people here make like $15K a year. Imagine losing your power 4 or 5 times a year. You use all your food stamps. Some people only get like $300 in food stamps for like a family of 5 to 6, which is absurd.
Now this is the second time someone's mentioned food stamps. That's because Puerto Rico is the poorest part of the United States. The average per capita income of an individual in Puerto Rico is $18,000 a year. That's $375 a week. And more than half of the kids in Puerto Rico live in poverty. So in Puerto Rico, food stamps are actually used for the reason they were created, so your kids don't starve. How long has this been going on?
Since I was born. I'm 27 years old and I've been seeing power problems since I've been like little. The government here misuses like federal funding because everything here is through federal funding. That's at least what I know. I'm not probably the best person. I'm a server. Shout out the Oyster Shack.
Shout out the Oyster Shack and give my boy Oscar a raise because he nailed it. The Puerto Rican government misuses federal funding. Of the $13 billion in FEMA funds obligated for electrical repairs, less than a quarter have actually been dispersed. Many Puerto Ricans blame funding delays on the board that handles the island's financial affairs and approves budgets, the Financial Oversight and Management Board, known on the island as La Junta. We're hearing a lot of the younger generation is moving out of Puerto Rico and into the mainland America.
Unfortunately, we have a decreasing population right now. Everybody who wants to do something here ends up going to the States because there's no growth opportunities.
Once again, our oyster amigo is correctamundo. Puerto Rico's population is in decline for a few reasons. High out-migration to the American mainland, a declining birth rate, and most notably, an aging populace. Puerto Rico actually has one of the oldest populations in the world, which means less working-age individuals in the labor force, which means less taxpayers to support public funding for things like education, healthcare, and of course, the broken power grid. As public services deteriorate, more and more young people are leaving for the American mainland.
I don't have any problems with the States, the United States or anything. I think it's a great country for what it is. There's some things that are fucked up, but I can cuss here, right? Yeah, I don't care. It's like everywhere, you know, it's the good things and the bad part. Bring the love. I don't hate gringos. I don't hate anything. Puerto Rico is open for everybody.
Yeah. Do you think that Puerto Rico would be better off managing their own power?
Puerto Rican people, unfortunately, are slick as fuck. They only think about their pockets. I don't feel sure enough that the Puerto Rican people will take care of the Puerto Rican people, as most people say, unfortunately. There's people that are not really nice in the inside, so who knows?
Right. Maybe the people that are in the government.
Fuck the government. Viene puñeta. Trick Gonzo, el show más hijo de puta, es lo más cabrón que hay, puñeta. Estamos en Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Here it is, the Bible study. A place I haven't been ever.
We eat, we have, as you can see, we pray, we worship a bit, and we're a real community of people who truly love each other. You know, as Yeshua said that, he summed up the entire Torah into two things, the entire law, as Christians call it, and to love each other as you love yourselves and love him above everything else, you know, horizontal and vertical. And that's what we do.
You run this Bible study. Yep. It's a community thing, but you're a man in the community. You run the Bible study, you work in charter schools, you work with a lot of people that need help, and I want to ask you how the power grid situation has been affecting people for so long.
I have literally dozens and dozens of stories. I delivered a lot of supplies to people who didn't have power for 6 months, maybe even a year without power. I met.
This is after the hurricane?
Right after the hurricane, for months, I worked day and night with this. I saw, you know, we'd arrive to people's homes and somebody had died because their oxygen, you know, machine wasn't working. I saw this so many times, people going hungry, food rotting.
Since I moved into a new place roughly a year ago, I've heard a transformer down the street explode probably once every 2 to 3 months, and it sounds like a bomb going off. It sets off all the car alarms in the neighborhood, just really interrupts everything, and then the power's out. You know, for the rest of the day or maybe even a few days, the power will be out. You know, your internet is also attached to that. So, you know, in other areas, it's even worse.
Like out up in the mountains and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Where the infrastructure is less, there's less tourism. The tourism actually drives the necessity to have the generation and things like that.
A lot of people that are isolated in these mountains, they couldn't get down to civilization to buy food. So a lot of people were literally going hungry. People died again, hospitals. It was terrible.
And you were saying earlier, you know, if a school doesn't have power, there's no school.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing.
So it affects the elderly, it affects the kids, it affects working class, small businesses, everybody.
And as I said, people are, the population is being literally dumbed down, as well as kids. I mean, they'll not have school, 2, 3, 4 days out of the month. And you add that to all the holidays, they'll shut down the school early, and that obviously affects their learning process. So,
and this I found out earlier today, the power grid issue has not been a problem since the hurricane. It was a pre-existing issue that has gotten worse.
Yes, I mean it had been bad for years, but
why is that?
Puerto Rico until the year 2000 maybe had 4.1 million people or something. Now it's down to, I don't know, 3.3 million perhaps. You got to check those numbers, but it's not just the exodus, it's who left to the most productive members of society. So imagine, so you're left with a bunch of people here that, aren't as productive, let's just say. And the other thing about power here, it's that my understanding, it's the second most expensive in the entire United States of America. In the poorest jurisdiction of the entire United
You're
States.
telling me that the power here is probably the worst in the country, but it's the second most expensive.
Correct. After Hawaii, I believe.
When I see something like that, I immediately think, well, if it's expensive, but it's still bad, people are either wildly incompetent or there's some level of corruption occurring. What do you think about a statement like that?
That's a long one. There is plenty of corruption, certainly, more than just the obvious corruption that you would think. There's this institutionalized corruption of doing things the way they still did them in the 50s and the 60s, processes that have fossilized in time, a grid that hasn't been modernized, some levels, of course, of incompetence as well, and then you combine that with this natural disaster, and you have the perfect storm.
The perfect storm indeed, both literally and idiomatically. Think about it. An impoverished island with a broken power grid and a bankrupt energy company was destroyed by the worst hurricane since Katrina, while a questionable financial board delays the release of funds meant to fix the grid. After the group prayer, an older gentleman stood up and introduced himself. It was his first time in attendance. He explained he was born and raised in none other than La Perla, and he was trying to start a business there. It was obvious this guy had seen some shit in his life. This is Oxy. I got his contact info, and then Joel and I split before I caught on fire. David woke us up bright and early, at noon, so we barely had any time to get ready. We were to meet him and a Dominican man by the name of Ramses, and head to the charter school to gain some valuable insight. The island is humid. Imagine, no air conditioning, because you have no electricity.
Oh, there he is.
It was time to do what we do. He made us sit in the back with a dog named Samson. I'd grow to love Samson by the end of this trip.
Over here, it's illegal, so it's
What?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Hope you got your gun ready.
Raw milk's illegal?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we have to.
Non-pasteurized milk. Yeah. In many states, it's illegal.
Why is it? Why is that?
Greg, how are you?
We're doing a raw milk drug
This
deal.
is David.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
David Frontera. Remember, I'm going to do the pickup for the milk. Oh, this might be another Greg. Oh, sorry. Got wrong number. Wrong Greg. Sorry about that. Who is?
I got that on camera.
You just called the wrong guy for a drug deal.
That's so bad, dude. This is the Greg I was supposed to call. Greg, I'm on my way right now, coincidentally, to Arecibo, so I can hop over and pick that up. So call me if you like. Just driving, or a voice message. He's in Russia, so he's only using. He's organizing.
Are you getting this from a Russian?
Well, he's organizing it from Russia right now, literally.
Milk?
Yeah, milk pickup.
So why is this raw milk illegal?
Well, ask the government, man. They started pushing this thing. Look it up. I don't know how many states it's illegal. It's a bunch of states it's illegal. Non-pasteurized raw milk, and there's all these theories about it that they did back in the day just to rob people of nutrients and make more money. And
I mean, I believe it.
How could something as innocent as milk be controversial, illegal even? Well, it's a story similar to that of the Puerto Rican power grid, actually, involving a milk scandal, corruption, and a New York anti-milk millionaire. We don't have time to go deep on this right now, so I'll give you the footnotes. Basically, the founder of Standard Oil, wealthiest American to ever live, and ruthless businessman John Davison Rockefeller had a particular passion for pasteurization. He used his damn near unlimited supply of monopoly money to fund pasteurization research and lobby the government to outlaw raw milk. This led to the ironically named Standard Milk Ordinance in 1924 and eventually to the 1987 federal ban on the interstate sale of raw milk. Why was Rockefeller so passionate about pasteurization, you ask?
The milk is mine.
Good question. He definitely was not trying to
use a combination of regulatory influence and financial investment to disenfranchise small farmers and consolidate the dairy industry into an industrial system of dairy processing cartels, which align with his business interests while simultaneously engaging in predatory business practices to secretly monopolize the burgeoning American pharmaceutical industry by influencing the medical apparatus through strategic investments and intentional marginalization of natural remedies, steering it toward the use of petroleum-derived medicines, resulting in the subsequent malnourishment and poisoning of the American population.
No, that would be a conspiracy theory. Old John just naturally had a burning passion for the health of the common man. Of course, there's way more nuance to this, but like I said, we don't have time for that. We'll do a deep dive on the Patreon now.
Okay, so we're over here at this school, this charter school that David works with, and he said he's going to connect us with some parents who have had some pretty bad experiences with the power going out, blackouts, electrical grid problems, and we're going to see how it affects the school and the kids and stuff like that.
Before we go to the school, could you go up there?
Oh,
With
yeah.
the kids and all the parents, they get all weird on me.
What the fuck, dude?
Then you can walk around naked if you like.
I'm a changed man, David.
Well, this is
Top button included. Yeah, all the way up, dude. All the way up.
No.
Same as his. One more, one more.
Yeah, this is one of the schools. We got 600 something kids in here, and it's been open for the past 2 years. We didn't have power here for the past year and a half. We were just energized about 4 months ago or something like that. So we went through hell for this school. We had kids passing out here because of the heat. Department of Education wanted to close us down, and we had to power it with our own money. So it almost brought the entire business down. It's a complete disaster. This is what a lack of steady power can do. It can bring down a business and affect children's education. I haven't gone into the full depth of the article, but I do know that they were doing an audit, and they found that LUMA overbilled the Department of Education by $50 million.
Okay, so that's
for
potentially affected
maybe
you here?
3 or 4 schools only.
Okay.
Imagine the rest.
Right.
So for one school, I think they had a $1 million power bill for 1 month.
Good God.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, that's business as usual.
Correct. Oh, literally.
Everyone on the island seemed to have a problem with LUMA. From outrageous bills and estimated electric usage to frivolous fees on monthly statements, LUMA has a lot to answer for. In fact, they've been involved with a litany of lawsuits regarding their operation of Puerto Rico's electric grid, as well as disputes over contractual agreements and finances. Much of the litigation is still pending.
Paradiso College Prep. Paradiso College Prep. We have another one in San Juan. This one in Arecibo. Let me show you our generator as well.
Yeah, let's check that out. That's what keeps everything running.
Yasira is one of our most valuable people here.
That's it.
She works with me every day with everything.
All this generation, they have been without power almost all their life. We're getting used to it, but at the same time, we are a charter school. We spend a lot of money trying to have backup plans that affects other activities like educational programs, more quality of life for these students in our system.
We had to buy this monster generator. We had to enclose it and encapsulate this.
Hold on, let me get the
and
mic.
we spend, I don't know how much, we had to build this ridiculous, look at this exhaust. It goes all the way up there. It cost us a ridiculous amount of money. We had to have this on basically 24/7 for more than a year, spending ridiculous amounts of money we didn't have on power, which could have been used for the children, teachers, salaries for more than a year and a half. We're getting sued by the neighbors now because of the noise.
They're suing a school?
They're suing a school, yeah.
But this is the only thing that's keeping this place running.
Correct. But it didn't have to be this way. But red tape, bureaucracy.
What was the number one problem with the power grid while it was out? Like, what was the biggest issue you guys were dealing with here?
¿Cuál era el mayor problema que tenían cuando no tenían electricidad aquí?
Bueno, una de las mayores dificultades que nosotros
The main issue is to not have an adequate space to be able to house the children, to be educated in general, to not be able to provide a space where they can come in and they could be comfortable and they could not be completely sweating, and not have all of the tools that they need so that they could learn in general. So that it was something that for them, they felt like, they were asking people to come into a place where they weren't accurately providing for them at all.
We've spent just massive amounts of money on this every month. This was a huge burden on a startup that we started, a nonprofit that was here to, teach over 600 something kids, some of the most vulnerable in our population, and we had to divert funds for this instead of, computers, books, salaries, food.
So when they weren't able to get electricity from LUMA, they did go through situations where when their generator would fail, they have limited technicians that could come out and actually deal with the generator itself. So here they would have the electrical equipment be failing on them consistently because the electricity would go out all the time. And then obviously that affects the students because they don't have the tools that they need in order for them to learn. And at the same time, when not having air, they would overheat here. We had kids that were passing out, kids that would get anxiety from the heat itself in general.
So this thing runs off gas primarily?
Yes, and we had to encapsulate it. We were forced into encapsulating it in this for the noise, and yet still we're getting
still getting sued. So you had to spend extra money on this exhaust. You had to spend extra money on this cage. Yeah. You had to spend extra money on all this stuff, and you have to power it on gas, which is not cheap. All to just power the charter school here, and you're still getting sued by the neighbors for noise. What kind of programs were put aside or left out because of power problems?
We have teachers here that do activities like theater, plays, etc. to be in after school. But one of the things that we don't have it is because we were cutting the generator at 3. They cannot do their homework here.
The power problems have limited any sort of extracurricular or anything really that's not the absolute foundation of their education. You have been living without power. How long has that been going on?
Correct. Definitely since 2018, basically. Right after the...
Wait, what?
Yeah. It's been crazy. The long story short, Maria, the hurricane hits, and my house, the roof is gone. Its windows gone, doors gone, all damaged pretty much. And I'm still in the reconstruction of my house. There was about a year or so that I had to endure living without water too, any running water. I applied for all the help that was available for citizens here in Puerto Rico after the storm. I was not approved for anything just because I'm a veteran and I'll get my VA paycheck. My windows are boarded still. I
still have no power?
Yeah, no power.
You haven't had any power for 8 years?
For 8 years. I've lived with generators at times. Luckily enough, my dad bought the house beside us, and he was able to give us an extension cord, and that's how I'm living right now.
Shit, dude. How did you live without water?
Actually, for water, what we did was we collected rainwater. We would buy bottles of water, whatever I could get. Sometimes I would even to cook. Because I live right across the street from the beach. I would go get some water from the beach, boil it, and we'll cook with that sometimes.
Would we be able to come to your house?
Most definitely, yeah.
That's out of control. So it was true. Some people have been living without power since Hurricane Maria. David wanted to introduce us to another couple that run a nonprofit, so we were going to meet Rudy at his place later on.
Good job, doggy.
We talked to David about the island's politics. It seemed as though no matter which way you turned, there was corruption around every corner. Bribery, fraud, and general mismanagement of federal funds, as our oyster sommelier told us earlier. The most evident example of this being the Financial Oversight Board. In addition to being heavily criticized for dragging out the PREPA bankruptcy and delaying the release of FEMA funds meant to repair the grid, the board has also faced accusations of corruption regarding high payouts to financial consultants and high administrative fees, as well as operating with a general lack of transparency, all the while cutting spending for public services like education and healthcare.
I'd be a fool not to ask you guys this, but
do you guys remember when the comedian Tony Hinchcliffe called Puerto Rico an island of trash?
Oh yeah, of course.
There's literally a floating island of garbage. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it was funny, and you know what? To an extent, it's true, because there's a lot of trash here unnecessarily. People should take care of what they have a lot more and a lot better. I thought there was a lot of BS outrage about that. The same people that are all going crazy in outrage, where people, you see them throwing trash out in the street here as they're driving. Puerto Rico I love, as you guys know. I'll defend Puerto Rico anywhere and everywhere. I'm living here for a reason. But it can be unnecessarily filthy.
I think that anything that brings awareness to a situation is obviously a positive thing.
Yeah.
But I think the reaction also tells you a lot about people. So there are people that are outraged with the fact that there is an issue with trash. And then there's people that say, well, it's literally trash. But when you hear that, there's a little bit of projection that's there, because people get envious of why is Puerto Rico so important? Why do people talk about it so much? Because it's such a great place in general, and a place where so many people want to be. So they'll talk down on something that they just don't have. So I think it's an easy way to punch down on a situation, but in reality, they wish they were here.
An island of trash or a trash island? Was something lost in translation? Literally? I mean, I've known Tony for years, and he's a lot of things, but he's no racist. The news tried to paint him as wondering his brief and failed cancellation in 2021, but that footage was manipulated, and he was later vindicated by the authentic footage from a certain Gonzo journalist. Anyway, the point is, it got me thinking about why a lot of people on the mainland are unaware of the Puerto Rican power grid situation. It could be due to a language barrier. There's almost no coverage of this in the mainstream American media, meaning there's no coverage in English, only in Espanol. And given that 78% of the American population only speaks English, most of us aren't going to hear about it.
This is the place where we're gonna pick up this milk. Just kidding. This is the Island Corps headquarters office, and we're gonna go talk to this lady named Lulu about the operation.
No English, or no Spanish. My name is Joel.
There she is, El Pequeño Angel de Puerto Rico, Lulu Mayorga. She's only 4.5 feet tall, but in my previous dealings with women of Latin descent, I've learned not to underestimate them. And trust me, Lulu is not to be underestimated. On the outside, you see a tiny brown island woman, but on the inside is a fearless and passionate guardian angel. And most importantly, she knows her shit and cares for the hijos. I say this with complete sincerity. Lulu is the closest thing to an angel I've ever encountered in my life. And yes, there's her husband, sweet Billy. Together, Billy and Lulu run a nonprofit for children called Island Corps. They're a pair of oddballs, and they're doing the Lord's work. We talked for a couple hours about how the electrical issues are affecting the children she works with. Lulu kept drawing pictures to explain things to us like we were 5-year-olds. It was very helpful.
Everything's connected to energy, but everything's really connected to education and health. Because, for instance, if we were educated, we have a school here in Santurce, in La Parada 18, that's actually built in an explosive site. Our school site is right in the middle. As public education school was built in 1918, around there. And over here, somebody had the bright idea to give a gas station a permit. And then somebody had the bright idea to give another gas station a permit. In the middle of the school, somebody had a bright idea to put a gas line as well. And then here we have a LUMA substation. And behind our school, then we have the energy lines who transmit live wire energy, known to cause pediatric cancer in children. So I'm always watching this particular school because if there's a fire here, it's gonna affect the gas station in the front, the gas station here, or the gas line that runs under the school. And under the school, like about 10 to 20 feet down, is a water main line because there's a river that runs through it. And nobody's opened that area in 10 years. So it's Pee Wee Herman's basement, the unknown, where his bike is. That's where it is, I say.
Joel says Lulu's positive energy was powerful, so powerful that even though LUMA can't provide the energy the island needs, Lulu's positive energy should be enough to power the entire planet. I think that sounds corny and gay, but he has a point. People like Lulu bring hope to hopeless situations. Lulu basically told us we were part of her family now and invited us to take a day trip with her across the island. David had to get to Bible study, so it was time for us to do what we do.
Well, Joel, we just met with Lulu Mayorga from Island Corps, and she drew us up some pictures, visually ascertained the situation here in Puerto Rico. She's going to take us all around the island, around the coast, and potentially right through the center to show us some of the places that have been hit the worst by The problems with the power grid, rolling blackouts that affect hospitals, schools, sick people, nursing homes. We're gonna meet her tomorrow morning at her farm and go on a little adventure, an excursion if you will, and see what's really this is all about, because as of now we've heard stories and it's all sort of secondhand, but we're going into the shit tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah.
But our day wasn't over. We still had to visit the rural abode of the school teacher we'd met earlier, see what conditions without power are like firsthand. But first, we had to rendezvous at the hotel so I could take care of a few things and grab the rental car. It seems we were experiencing power problems sooner than expected.
This guy's broke the fucking machine up here. Look at this. You see this?
Hmm.
That thing's completely broken.
That one's not working either.
I went inside and the front desk guy, concierge or whatever, dude, he was like,
It's not working anyway.
anyways, he was clicking all these buttons trying to make a call to China, and then
Hey!
Yeah, I'm gonna try to hold it up.
We're saving for you.
Go, yeah. Hurry up, it's going. You gotta go.
that parking, what do you call that thing?
Arm.
That parking arm. It's an analogy for the Puerto Rican power grid. No, these people are totally fucked. They have no idea how any of this shit works. That's the problem with fucking coming down with the whoever came down here and developed this centralized power grid.
Yeah.
They built it and then they didn't teach anybody else how to fix it. Dude.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, here you go, dude. It'll probably work for a while. Just like that fucking parking arm. Puerto Rico. La, 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 la. What's up, man? What's up, Colonel?
Made it.
We made it.
So as you can see, it's pretty much a construction site. You know, right now we're in the construction site phase of things. The problem with the electricity here, there is power, but it's not the safest one. 3 TVs that 2 of them got burnt. The one that actually caught fire was on my daughter's bedroom. They were sleeping already. I smelled it.
It actually caught on fire.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Wow. You can see how it just kind of like melted
melting.
with inside. Yeah. And of course, that fridge didn't even last here a year.
Oh shit! I
And-
didn't even.
Yeah.
You see that, Joe?
Yeah, we'll go into that later.
You have your good days, you have your bad days, and you have your days where you're like, it is what it is. But it definitely drains you. It's gonna test you. It's gonna test you to the core. It's gonna make you either resilient or you pretty much gonna give up on everything in life.
Oh, that's my wife, Anna. That's Gary. And the awesome cameraman.
Joel.
That light pole right there, that's the one that's leaning over here. The problem is that the power line, it started going crazy. It started sparking. We had about 12 to 13 complaints that we did to LUMA for them to come out, fix it and whatnot. Never came out. And a time lapse of 3 to 4 years. And they never did nothing. So
Not one time.
not one time. The roof started leaking every time it rained. And the floor here, our roof right now, started gathering puddles of water. So that would go into the concrete and to the power line. So it would just go crazy. Like if you were trying to get a shower and turn on the hot water, it would actually shock you. We lost computers, we lost dryer, washers. It's crazy.
Fridge, TVs.
Yeah.
It has taught me to be resilient with anything that I encounter in life. It's been a struggle, yes. It's not easy. You're gonna cry, you're gonna scream, you're gonna break stuff. It's not gonna get better. As long as we have the same power grid, the same company working on it, the same government dealing with it, it's gonna be all the same. This hasn't been going on with Puerto Rico since, a couple years. It's been going on for as long as I have common sense.
We didn't have a window. It was a broken window, which is out there. I can show you. We sealed this. There's a window right there that we had to seal as well because it didn't work at all.
Mm-hmm. This is the generator that you've been using.
Yeah.
For how long?
I actually was using because my dad actually, if you can see all the cordage right there, I got the whole house Dixie chained to my dad's house. Which is the only way I was able to survive because that's about more than $700 a month just to have it through the night. And neighbors gonna complain. I'm telling you, my heart gets deep because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of living in this condition. My kids don't deserve this. So with the COVID and all the craziness that was going on, prices got higher and higher and higher. We were trying to start a business, a food business. We had a little restaurant going to see if we could rebuild this. That didn't happen. Another storm came. It pretty much paralyzed everything as far as financial. I had to send my family almost for a whole year to the States in order for me to try to rebuild this house because it was by myself. I didn't have no help. There was no way I could pay people to come in and actually work and do all the stuff that's needed. Windows, doors, bathroom. Look at my kitchen. These water spots all come from the roof. So when it rains, this whole floor is flooded. That's why I have made different holes in the walls in order for the water, according to gravity. I think gravity doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And this is pretty much the conditions we've been having to live. This right here is my bedroom. I'm gonna bring the flashlight over here. So this has been my bedroom, and it's been in the same condition since 2018.
Me and my wife been married for 14 to 15 years now. Pretty much half of our married life, we have not had a anniversary. We haven't been able to celebrate a birthday. We haven't been able to celebrate, or not celebrate, but go to on a vacation, family vacation or anything like that.
So it's fair to say this has been a pretty large burden on your family. And how are they handling it, would you say?
Like I said, it's something that you learn to love and you hate to love. You're gonna have good days. We're building good memories as far as the kids, as far as me and my wife, and the good and the bad makes something beautiful.
Does it bring y'all closer together, you think, in a certain capacity?
If I tell you no, I'm gonna lie to you.
It started raining pretty bad. We actually had to gather all the mattresses in bed and whatnot, and we actually had to sleep, all 5 of us, in this room, which was my son, which is a little messy. It's a kid's room. So
How old are you?
Oh, 14.
You said what?
14.
14.
So usually I wake up, brush my teeth, get ready for school. I go to school and I get home, I eat. If I got like an exam or homework, I do it, and that's about it. I usually go to bed after that.
Oh yeah, let me grab the light. This one is dark.
When the waterfall, I had like these how do you say that? These red containers, and we usually put them in the floor, so the water usually gets in the containers. I mean, it's like okay, it's fine. I don't really care about it. It's just like okay, that happens.
Totally unfazed.
Yeah.
This is my daughter's room. I tried solar panels. That's where we had the board. We had to take them out as well because it was giving me the same issues.
So you've got no lights. You're Dixie chaining cables to your neighbor's house. You've got flooding problems. You've got no AC. Is there more?
Let's go. Oh goodness.
Do you remember what it was like before the hurricane?
No, I was still little.
Do you remember? What was it? What was different?
I mean, it was like really different because like whenever like it rained, the water didn't like come in like the house. The top part was like pretty nice still. It wasn't like all destroyed. We used to like live more comfortably.
The bathroom is the only place that it doesn't leak.
I'm not like bothered how like we're living, but I'm like kind of like grateful that we still have a roof over our head, and that like we still have like a mom and dad who cares for us and tries to like give the best for us.
Fistful for that.
I think you just got me speechless. Honestly, that's incredible. That's an incredible answer. Do you think you've learned something from this?
Yeah, cause like there's some people like at my school who like lives more comfortably and like has like their own room and everything, but I'm like they're kind of like sometimes like mean, stuff like that. Also, the thing that I've learned is like to be kind to others and to always be grateful for what I have.
Hear that, Joe?
Yeah.
This roof hasn't been here for 10 years. When the hurricane came, there was no boards on the window. Wind was able to get in and start pressing it, flexing the roof, right? So the whole roof pretty much collapsed into concrete. So I knew I lost the house, but it's pretty much the house where I grew up my whole life, and I couldn't, my heart wouldn't let it go.
One thing about living like this is realizing what all the things that you got and what other people have. Like, let's say someone lives more comfortably, but they don't like appreciate what they have, cause like what they have, they get it easily, like they don't work for it, like, but we living like this, we realize what we have and what we cherish, and we're really appreciative of our parents because we see how they care about us so much, and they teach us so much stuff about like saving, appreciating what you got.
You understand the true value of something. Like, do you have an Xbox?
No.
But would you rather have your family or something like that?
I prefer having my family and my sisters because I really love my sisters. Even though I bother them, but I really love them. I really do.
I understand that I'm putting my family through a tough situation, but I feel safer here than trying to hustle a couple dollars in order for, to pay a rent. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you don't want to gamble with your family.
So I feel safer in these conditions with the economy that we're living in. This is the bathroom, and as you can see, there's a leakage of water. I can't stop it. That all is going against us as well.
What are you interested in?
School right now. I want to focus on my career. I'm trying to be the best I can so I can teach my sisters what not to do and what to do. I would like to be a mechanic. Like, I like all the part about cars. I usually go on YouTube and look on parts and stuff, and it's like really good. I like it.
I'm actually want to be like a designer, like doing dresses and stuff like that. I'm really interested in like volleyball and like stuff like that because I like to do like sports. I want to be a marine biologist because like I really love everything that has to do with like with the sea animals like dolphins, whales, sharks. that's what I'm passionate about.
So you like trucks, and you want to be a mechanic, and you like dresses and want to be a designer, and you like volleyball and you want to be a marine biologist. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty incredible that y'all already know what you want to do. When I was your age, I didn't have any idea at all. I didn't even like school.
If anybody gets to see this video, I don't care what they're going through. I really don't care what they're going through. Life gets tough. It's gonna get crazy. It's gonna prove you as a human being. You feel like you're gonna be ripped apart. But if you keep the idea, the positive mindset, and try to organize your thoughts. Don't let people with negative ideas try to diminish what you're trying to build. Because trust me, I had those friends, which they're not friends anymore. Every time I would grab a shovel, they were like, man, you're crazy. You're not going to be able to fix that house. Every time I would buy 20 concrete blocks, they were like, man, you need 200 more. Yeah, but I got 20 less that I have to buy. The odds just keep coming, and I keep fighting them.
All right, well, thank you, guys. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I have a question. What do you guys think about your mom and dad?
Oh wow, no, they're the best because they teach us some good like advice in life. They teach us about valuing and like everything. They're usually better parents than the rich people parents. You know what I mean? Like they're some good parents. They always been there for us. Like always. We never went hungry. Never. Well, living like this, we never like experience hunger. Never. They just be the best.
That's awesome, man.
They're very nice. They actually help me in with my homework. They're there when I'm like sad or like they're always there for me, and like I can't like ask anymore like for more stuff that they can give me. Like I can't ask more because they actually are so nice.
Like I said, if anybody gets to see this, go through it. Go with against all odds and fight it through. Once you see whatever project, whatever thing you have in life done and accomplished, you're gonna feel that gratitude, which is gonna be satisfying. It's been a tough ride. It's taken a toll on everybody here.
It's been 8 years. What has the power company and what has the government done for you?
Nothing.
Morning, Gary.
Lulu woke us up at 6 a.m. for the island tour. The Dominican translator would be accompanying us as well.
There's our boy.
Vámonos!
What up, fellas? Good morning.
Morning. All right.
All right, so we got to stop and get me some pants. She said that they won't let me in if I'm only wearing shorts. In Puerto Rico, they make you wear pants in the schools.
Yeah, that's the thing. Certain government areas too. You can't even have sandals there.
You get the pants?
Yeah, I bought some fucking bones too.
Nothing.
She told me to get pants. I'm not gonna go change my pants at the school.
That wouldn't be good.
We're headed over to the Lulu's family farm to meet up with her, and she's gonna take us around the entire island, the coast of Puerto Rico, and then the west coast, rather. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're basically touring the whole island today. We're gonna see the second most contaminated place on the whole earth.
Right, and I believe we're also gonna stop by the very first power station that was created on Puerto Rico, and then cut through the center when we're doing it, making a crescent moon around the Rincon, if you will. So we're gonna see some of the people that are worst affected by the issues of the power and health, education, stuff like that. I think we're gonna see some stuff that's similar to what we experienced last night.
All right.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna take a nap. Thanks for driving.
No
Hello. Go.
Lulu invited us in for coffee and breakfast. In addition to forcing me to wear pants on this humid island, we were also supplied with company t-shirts, so we appear like volunteers and not some pirate news crew. After breakfast, we took a tour of the property.
Is it gonna be super hot?
It's like wasabi lettuce.
Are you messing with me? Or are you being serious?
No, I'm being serious.
All right, here. How about you eat half of it?
Who can't take spicy?
Are we going there?
Yeah, we're going there.
All right.
Here's to the
Morning wake up.
To the people of Puerto Rico. This is how people in Puerto Rico wake up. Buenos dias.
Spicy lettuce.
They think a gringo can't take un poco calor, eh?
Es un recado.
Not that bad.
Not at all.
It's not?
No.
How are you doing this?
I mean, I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that one I felt more than the other one.
Oh, whoa.
This was different. This one's different.
Psych!
This one's different.
Yeah,
it's like a jalapeno. Every leaf is
shit.
different.
Oh my God.
Every leaf is different.
Let me help you. Rescue.
All right, what do you got? What do you got to cut?
All right, so this is basil, and this is trebol. This is like here.
And that's gonna.
It's
gonna take the edge off. Yeah.
It's like hotter.
We just
So get a little water in
eating a
you.
whole
Yeah.
salad out here.
Yeah. Wait, and then spinach, and this coats your. If you ever get like cotton mouth, dry mouth, it coats your mouth, and then like you get more saliva, which is really great. So it helps you with the dryness, and it helps you live longer and healthier.
After enjoying a Puerto Rican garden salad and learning about the local vegetation, Lulu and Billy told us about how they'd outfitted their home to be as self-sustaining as possible to combat the power outages and hurricanes. They had extra rooms, tents, even a back house for others to take shelter in case of an emergency. And of course, backup generators, surge protectors, solar panels, and a home energy storage system, which is basically a power bank for the house. After the grand tour, it was time to hit the road. And we do.
Really long. We're doing this. We're here, and we're cutting through the middle.
Right.
And then we gotta go to the school before 2 p.m.
And then we go all the way.
And then we're gonna go up. Back up. It's la Escuela Adolfo Garcia, and that's in Naranjito. And this particular school rarely has running water. Most of the time they operate with a cistern that has to be filled up by the municipality.
Virtually all public water systems in Puerto Rico rely on electric-powered pumps for moving water, especially uphill in mountainous areas. So oftentimes when the electricity goes out, so does the water. And given the fragility of the electric grid, there's been a notable increase in the use of cisterns and other rainwater harvesting systems across Puerto Rico.
Do you think that this will help?
Yeah.
Like we saw some traffic lights.
Jesus Christ.
So far, we'd only experienced the urban and coastal areas of the island. This was our first time going into the mountainous regions. And I gotta say, it was humid as hell. But it's beautiful. The first stop on our island trek was a school Lulu works with. Island Corps provides them with desks, textbooks, and other supplies, and a shipment of new desks had just arrived, so Lulu wanted to check on the delivery. Wow, what a school. Cut off from the scenic beauty around it by concrete walls and doors I've only seen in jail. Gotta love the American public education system. Largely influenced by the General Education Board established by John D. Rockefeller, by the way.
Is that connected to the main grid?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if the main grid goes down, that's going down.
Exactly. I have to make a email to the Secretary of Education to give me a generator for the school because we don't have
Any backup.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the water problem. Why do you have to use cisterns and not have running water?
This issue is for power electricity on the substation in the water.
The sanitation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They have some issue that when it's rain too much, they have a digital system over there. They stop bring water for the community because the river bring a lot of obstacles and everything.
So the water from the local water is too dirty, so you got cisterns to run the water here so people don't get sick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything they're sitting on, they're now sitting on things that we, our nonprofit provided to them.
It's good to see the kiddos happy with their new desks, but they still don't have a backup generator, so if the power goes out, school's out. And instead of running water, they have to use cisterns with a dedicated engineer for maintenance. And sadly, that's better than the alternative. On October 19th, the island's northern super aqueduct exploded, cutting off water to several 100,000 people. Puerto Rico's water authority, PREPA, claims it was due to a power outage, although, surprise, surprise, LUMA denies responsibility. Well, I found an engineering analysis from 2010 that states this super aqueduct was sensitive to water hammers, violent spikes in water pressure strong enough to punch holes in pipes. And in Puerto Rico, these usually occur when water valves abruptly shut due to electrical failure. Then I dug a little further and found something even more interesting. $4.2 billion in FEMA funds were obligated to PREPA in 2021 to prevent this exact kind of thing from happening. And just like with the electric grid, less than a quarter of the total money available has actually been dispersed, because federal funds require budget approval from La Junta before being spent. So this isn't just a broken pipe, it's a symptom of an entire broken system that is literally leaving Puerto Ricans high, dry, and in the dark.
Puerto Rico municipalities have something called carnivals, right? They're like fiestas patronales. And they have music, and I didn't know if the power went out. But I do know that her mom was walking around with, it was Gabriela's mom, Gabriela, and a friend. About 6 to 7 people came and they ambushed them. And they held the mom. They were all covered completely. And they held the mom down so she would watch her 16-year-old daughter get stabbed. And it's like the entire island is shooketh. And this just happened. I wanted us to make a pit stop at the school.
Saludos, mi nombre es Yo soy directora del Cuerpo de Paz para las Islas del Mundo Island Corps. So, the principal is with the police department right now. They're at the school because they're asking to see how many of the kids knew that this murder was going to happen. Ay, muchas gracias, Santa, gracias.
The night we landed on the island, 16-year-old Gabriela Nicole Pratts Rosario was stabbed to death by a group of teenage girls after a carnival in Aponito.
Do you guys mind if I make a pit stop here at the funeral home really quick for a second?
Lulu was pretty deeply affected by this, more so than I think she was letting on. When we arrived, we discovered Gabriela's family hadn't paid the funeral costs yet, and Lulu took it upon herself to do so.
We're kids, but I feel like with Island Corps, every single kid on this island is my kid. So it's what a mom would do, right? If her child died, how are you not going to help? This is why we work what we do. And she's a kid.
Gabriela's aunt showed up and it was melancholy, but she was grateful. So much so that she actually asked us to accompany her to the memorial site.
I feel terrible that you guys have to see stuff like this on our island, but you know, like everybody wants to paint Puerto Rico as like Bad Bunny, glorious, everything's beautiful, and we have some serious social problems. And maybe if we talk more about, you know, this kind of things, they're horrible, maybe we would stop, people would stop doing these horrible things.
The group that came here to basically attack the family and the young lady, they basically started beating up her sister, and they held back the mother while they came and attacked this young lady.
My daughter and Gabriela just died.
Word of the brutal murder had already spread across the island by word of mouth and in Puerto Rican circles of social media, but I hadn't heard anything about it on mainland American news. And then Gabriela's aunt told us that the mother-daughter duo responsible hadn't even been arrested yet, and it had been days since the murder, which kind of pissed me off because if this had happened on the American mainland, it would be all over the news, and these people would already be in jail. But that's why we do what we do. We tell the stories the news doesn't.
I'm going to tell you guys about something that you're not going to hear about in the American news. So we're in Bonito, Puerto Rico, and 3 days ago there was a carnival event here, like a community event, and a fight broke out between a group of teenage girls and a 16-year-old girl. She was defending her little sister, and she ended up getting stabbed to death. She was stabbed 8 times right here, and her mother showed up to try to help her, and the gang of girls that attacked her held her mother down and made her watch as she died. And it would have been her 17th birthday yesterday. So I just think people should know about that. The killer and her mother were apprehended by local authorities a short time later. Both individuals are currently awaiting trial on charges of first-degree murder and violations of the weapons law. I think people forget that Puerto Rico is part of America, and Gabriela was a U.S. citizen, so her story doesn't deserve to be overlooked. So remember that next time you hear about Puerto Rico, those are U.S. citizens. Lulu wanted to take us to a spot on the beach to recoup after the heavy events of the day. There were remnants of old factories and abandoned chemical plants littered all alongside the highway en route.
Some not very bright person had the idea of taking one of the most beautiful coasts in Puerto Rico, which seems to be the constant narrative here on the island. You take part of a beautiful coast, which should be for people to enjoy, and communities to enjoy, or people to fish from and eat from, and then they put an industrial zone that then gets abandoned and it turns into a giant wastebasket.
Lulu also told us parts of the island have been significantly contaminated with mercury and other industrial pollutants, which have been linked to developmental and behavioral disorders in children, as well as diseases like Parkinson's and cancer. The dichotomy between the derelict facilities along the roadside and the lavish tropical hideaway we arrived at really is indicative of the two-tiered way things are run on the island.
Trip and fall. Hey.
Hey.
Go get it, babe. Oh, baby. I got it for you.
You don't want the juice?
Yeah.
Take it.
She poured that for you.
Take it.
She made that herself this morning, too.
It's fresh from today.
Did you grow these watermelons?
Yes. No. I didn't grow those watermelons. Welcome to Puerto Rico, baby.
Hey, we're on the clock, dude. You gotta get your uniform back on,
Do
dude.
I have time to smoke a bone real quick?
Go ahead. You should quit smoking, though.
No, it's good for me.
I'm not telling you what to do, but since you're trying to be healthier, I'm just going to suggest that you quit smoking bones.
I'll smoke half a cigarette.
Okay, fine. That's better than the entire thing.
Okay.
You know, the issue is that then it kills you.
The good die young.
And then if you meet your dream weaver girl, you know, like you're cute music behind.
You think I'm gonna ever meet a nice lady for me? I'm going.
I believe it. I believe there's hope for you in love.
Yeah, there's no hope right now like this.
Look at me.
While driving through a small town, we heard wailing coming from a nearby yard. We had no idea what was going on, but Lulu pulled over.
Okay, let's have him sit down and stop moving. Mira, aquí mismo, quita. Váyase ahí.
¿Dónde te duele, papi? Hold on, let me get Mami, ¿tú tienes hielo? No, mami, yo no tengo hielo. ¿Usted tiene, alguien del vecindario tiene hielo? Necesito hielo. I need ice. We don't have any ice.
You said call 911?
Yeah, we just need an ambulance.
Mario, ahora, carretera 331.
Sí, tengo un paciente, ¿de qué edad usted tiene? No se podía mover, no, tuvimos que levantarlo con 3 caballeros, pero necesito un blood pressure check.
Cae encima de algo duro.
Él se cayó ahí. He fell here. He certified the electric work that he did here. ¿Usted es perito?
Con todo y cable y las de adentro, que son 2 cajas.
¿Usted es perito electricista?
Yo soy electricista.
He's an electrician, and he did all the work fixing his meter by himself.
What ask him about if LUMA's helped at all?
¿Luma lo ha ayudado a usted de alguna manera?
¿Ah?
¿Luma lo ha ayudado a usted?
Que Luma, estoy loco porque me venga a llamar y que me dé la cara. O sea, el americanito ese va a ponerlo en su sitio.
He wants Luma to come here so he can
fuera
put
Luma.
him in his place.
Que me viniera, man.
Engineers from Luma came, he told him not to be pigs.
A mí me tuvieron desde el año pasado, 2024, sin venirme a poner la luz. Cuidado que vi como hasta la última vez que
He
fui
didn't
que me
have
dio
power.
un cabrón.
Que le pongan un suerito, se va a sentir bien.
I hate hospitals.
I know, we don't
I
like
hate it.
I know.
All my heart. I hate the freaking hospital.
I know.
I don't want hospitals.
You speak English very well.
Of course I speak English.
Your energy, yeah, you want your energy fixed.
Of course.
You don't have any solar panels, right? No tiene paneles solares ni nada.
No.
So you did your electric yourself?
Yes.
And you're an electrician?
Yeah.
Do other people in the neighborhood have problems with electricity?
But then when they have some problem, they come to me and we're going to fix it. Then that's it.
So you fix all the electricity problems in the neighborhood. LUMA doesn't do shit.
We don't have no problem with that. Because the people they scared to the electricity, they give you a little shot. That don't scare me.
LUMA has done such a shit job that an entire neighborhood calls on an old man with a bad back to handle their electrical issues. Nobody trusts LUMA, and why would they? On top of all the lawsuits and issues we've seen firsthand, the off-island company has also struggled with transparency since day one. 6 months after taking over, an arrest warrant was issued for the former CEO Wayne Stensby for failure to provide company documents to lawmakers. Why in the hell would you refuse to provide documents if you have nothing to hide? Well, come to find out, before LUMA took over, PREPA was running an oil cartel scheme where they paid inflated prices for low-quality fuel oil, which led to class action lawsuits for overcharging customers. Now, I'm not saying LUMA's carrying on the tradition, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
Este es Gary, él es periodista, y este es Joel,
Hello.
y él es cinematógrafo. ¿Sí? Sí.
Este amigo mío se llama Gary.
I'm Gary. This
Gary.
is Joel.
Y Gary habla
Hi.
inglés. Y este es mi amiguito Joel. Y
Este
ellos
Joel.
hacen películas. Sí. Y
Yo soy Ramses.
Este es mi amigo Ramses. Dile hola, papito.
¿Usted me puede decir cómo usted se llama?
Idelisa.
Idelisa. She is Luis's mom. We call him Luisito.
Luisito.
Luisito. Okay. Luisito's 18 years old.
Basically, what I want to know is what happens if the power goes off and how bad does it get in a certain amount of time? You get what I'm saying? Like, how long until it's something that's really bad, basically?
Él quiere saber cómo esto funciona cuando se apaga la luz. When the power goes out, how does this work? And what is this?
Cuando esto es un concentrador de oxígeno.
This is an oxygen concentrator. An oxygen concentrator.
Con esto pues se lo mantiene respirando porque él no puede ya respirar sin el oxígeno.
And this keeps her son breathing and alive because Luisito can no longer breathe without assisted oxygen. And what happens with Luisito's air if it shuts off?
Luisito puede dejar de respirar.
So Luisito can stop breathing because he has a machine assisted oxygen. ¿Cómo entonces usted tiene, when it turns off, how then do you have access to turn it back on again, to energy? ¿Cómo usted tiene acceso a energía de nuevo para prenderlo?
¿Cómo tengo acceso a energía? Pues mira, con un pequeño inverter.
She has a small inverter.
So when the power goes out, you use the energy inverter to keep it going?
¿Cuánto tiempo dura? How long does your inverter last for?
El inverter hasta que se le acabe la gasolina. Que
She runs out of gasoline. It can last 3 or 4 hours. Those 3 to 4 hours, who gets the gasoline for you?
En esas 3 o 4 horas, Pues cuando mi hermana está por ahí, mi hermana.
If her sister is around, which her sister, but she works. How long can he survive without the assisted oxygen?
Si ahora mismo a él se le quita el oxígeno, él empieza a hiperventilar.
So you remove the oxygen, he will begin hyperventilating.
Immediately.
¿Como cuánto? 5 minutos después?
De que se le quita el oxígeno.
Sí.
The power goes out, you got to use the inverter. That runs on gas. You got to get gas every 4 hours. And if that runs out, there's a very short amount of time, 5 minutes, what have you. If there's a gas shortage or no access to gas, what happens then? Like, for example, during a hurricane.
Pues mira, hasta el momento, pues sería llevarlo a un hospital.
The moment is to take him to a hospital.
The power grid and the rolling blackouts basically has forced you to rely on other people to donate an inverter, drive to get gas, and all of that additional tasks associated with keeping this thing running to keep him alive. And the power grid is the lack of dependability is dramatically affecting the quality of life of you and your son.
Yeah, and thousands of other children throughout Puerto Rico, and elderly too.
In the case of this child, a power outage is quite literally life or death. His life is intrinsically connected to the proper functioning of Puerto Rico's electric grid. So when the island's financial board delays funds for electrical repairs while simultaneously cutting healthcare spending, people like Luis and his mother, and by extension his entire immediate family, suffer.
¿Ese ruido siempre está así de alto para ustedes? Todo el tiempo. He's telling me that sound, like that horrible hum that you hear, I don't know if you hear it. It's a horrible
I can hear
hum.
it, yeah.
It was louder hace 2 semanas.
So la pararon, pero la pararon para reparar el tubo. Pero ya ahora,
A pipe, something broke and it was louder than
all the power that this make, it go to from one, from there,
this. So this one generates it and it takes it to Monacello. I have to show you guys a map of where that is so you guys can see it. So it's gonna look at Mortar's penthouse.
The constant hum of machinery, the massive imposing structures. The Aguirre power plant reminded me of something out of a dystopian future video game. Like something Solid Snake would infiltrate.
Lulu took us to the main power station here on the island, just so we get a close-up look at it. I don't think she really wants us to sneak in there, so we might not be able to do that, but we want to get a good look at it. It's monstrous. Yeah. Really. I mean, look at that thing. It's a beast.
How could this be the source of so many problems?
Spent the last 3 days traveling around Puerto Rico and seeing and experiencing a lot of the problems that the locals are dealing with and seeing a lot of the life here that people from the mainland never see. And we have made it here to arguably the source of that issue, of all those issues. The PREPA Aguirre power plant. It's a major player in the power grid system here in Puerto Rico. And I think it's very symbolic that we're looking at this monstrosity of technology through a chain link fence.
I swear I can feel sentience breathing from the hum of the transformers. That thing is evil, man.
Let's get the fuck out of here. I'm getting bit up.
Yeah, me too.
Now, it's important to note that while LUMA handles the transmission and distribution of electricity, the actual generation of electricity in the power plants was handed over to Henra PR, a subsidiary of New Fortress Energy, in 2023 as part of the privatization process. However, While LUMA and Genera operate the grid assets, like the Aguirre power plant, the power lines, substations, etc., they're all still technically owned by PREPA, who is, again, bankrupt. Look, I know it's an inanimate object, but I swear that thing is evil. It's got to be a portal to hell or something. We stopped at the local bar where the power plant employees get hammered during work. After work. And we ended up meeting this badass old broad. I never would have guessed it, but the barstool banter with this Puerto Rican abuelita ended up leading me down a rabbit hole that would explain the entire current state of the island.
21 days without no power, no electricity. I was going crazy. I almost shoot myself. That's what I have. I have solar panel now.
So it was so bad you just went to a completely different kind of energy.
Yes. You had no food. You had no water. You have no way to relax, and it was so difficult.
What was the response from FEMA?
I didn't qualify for FEMA because my husband is retired from the army.
You have got to be kidding me. FEMA is so fucked. It's every single time with them.
And because I pay a mortgage and I have an insurance, and because of the water didn't went through the windows, I didn't qualify for anything. My windows right now are broken. My back doors in my house, I have gypsum board, yes.
Jesus, how many people are living like this?
What do you think about LUMA?
LUMA, I don't know which one is worse of the government when there was the other company or this one.
What do you think about the local government and their response?
They don't think about Puerto Rico. They don't think about the person. They don't think about the need for that people. They only think about having that position or that chair, and they only think about the money. From the beginning, see, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I will always listen to the news and listen to this and listen to that. And I had 3 grandchildren, and I don't see no future for them. The way the government are treating the Puerto Ricans, I don't see no future for them. The government has to change. The political people need to see the need to have empathy for all Puerto Ricans.
Are you concerned about corruption in the government?
Of course. Okay, I go and I rob next door neighbor. I'll go to jail because nobody knows me. See, the senator rob and they don't go to jail. Now you tell me why.
Looks like things here aren't much different than up on the mainland after all.
In Puerto Rico was where the first place do they try the birth control pills, because the women in here used to have 22 children, 11 children, 16 children, and they brought that birth control in Puerto Rico. For the first time, they tried that in here. And it's right down in there. You can look it up.
She's saying that Puerto Rico is ground zero for birth control testing and population control.
Ever since we arrived on the island, I felt like I was in a never-ending episode of InfoWars. Conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy. Next, we're going to find out there's a shadow government running the island. But yes, it's true. The first large-scale human trials of the birth control pill were conducted on women in Puerto Rico in the 1950s. Largely without their knowledge. There were a bunch of ethical issues and 3 potential deaths, but they weren't investigated. That's because this birth control testing was part of a larger government population control program called La Aparición, pushing full-blown sterilization. By 1982, 1/3 of Puerto Rican women would be sterilized. Significantly funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, by the way. The widespread sterilization campaign was implemented in conjunction with Operation Bootstrap, a U.S. Puerto Rican economic initiative aimed at industrializing the island's economy. Bootstrap explains almost everything Puerto Rico is dealing with right now. It shifted the island's economy from agricultural base to manufacturing and tourism, created dependence on federal funding, reliance on tax incentives, lack of employment opportunity, persistent poverty, mass outmigration in New York City, and a declining birth rate. Really makes you think, what else is Puerto Rico an experimental testing grounds for? More on the Patreon.
Hopefully this will make some difference. We'll see. Or somebody will kill us. But either way.
Yeah, it's okay. You have to fight for what you believe.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Even if it kills you?
Yes. Even if they kill you,
Hell
you
yeah.
gotta fight for what you believe.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Thank you. Alright, so look, I forgot to extend the hotel. So we gotta get out of here. We're gonna go stay at Lulu's house. First, though, we're gonna stop by the Island Corps office. We also have a couple of interviews set up, which I'm gonna save those. That's a surprise for you, Joel.
Okay.
One of them is a lawyer. We gotta get the hell out of here. I gotta call the rental car place too. I forgot to update them on the fact that we're keeping that car.
I think we're good.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Just threw up. You know what that means? It means it's been too long since I've taken one of those pain pills.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's not good, bud. This is pathetic. You want one? Yeah, that's what happens when I don't take one of those for 24 hours. Don't do drugs, kids! Alright, on to the next thing! Bueno.
See you.
Why do I keep getting the feeling like we're missing something? Do you feel like that too?
Remember 4 hours ago when I mentioned the Financial Oversight and Management Board, La Junta, and how they delayed the PREPA bankruptcy while sending $2 billion to New York? And I said, I'll explain in due time. Trust me, I'm a journalist. Well, it's due time, but I lied. I'm not the one who's going to explain it. Alfonso Fernandez is.
I miss this place, man.
When do you think the problems with the power grid in Puerto Rico started?
The whole power system was deteriorating from the 80s. Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority had a very strong union, over 5,000 members. And in the 1970s and 80s, it became obvious that they were so strong politically that all the collective bargaining agreements had to go up every time. The union was very violent.
In the 1980s, union violence was common in Puerto Rico. The most prominent example being the 1986 DuPont Plaza hotel fire that killed 97 people.
In 1982, there was a big strike, and there was quite a number of vandalism and quote-unquote terrorism attacks. There was some industrial sabotage. But there was actual terrorist or bombing attacks to transmission towers.
Like the 1981 PREPA substation bombings, carried out by pro-independence group Los Macheteros that affected 20,000 customers.
But in any event, the union situation, because of the expense related to it, made that agency unmanageable. Because it was all their employees were political animals. And then to make matters worse, the reliance on oil in Puerto Rico was disastrous. Ever since 1972-73 with the oil crisis, when OPEC was created, all the power plants in Puerto Rico were based on fuel oil. And it wasn't until the 1990s that through privatization under Governor Rosario that 30% of the power is now done by private entities because PREPA did not have the money to create new physical plants.
So PREPA was already struggling to maintain an antiquated power grid, and then Hurricane Maria hit.
Obviously, the clear case of the grid just collapsing was after Maria. After that, the Power Authority went bankrupt. That delays a lot of the work that had to be done because now the authority did not have the ability to borrow.
Enter the longest municipal bankruptcy in American history. Why has PREPA been in bankruptcy proceedings for so long?
Puerto Rico in the 1980s was removed from the list of entities that could file bankruptcy under Chapter 9 of the Bankruptcy Code, which at that time would have allowed PREPA and the municipalities and public utilities here to file bankruptcy. There were some either investment bankers or even the government of Puerto Rico, by taking Puerto Rico out of the bankruptcy code for their agencies, would actually make those agencies a safer investment because they couldn't go into bankruptcy. So as a result of Puerto Rico's inability to pay its debt, Congress had to enact this law creating the Fiscal Control Board. And sadly, they haven't been unable to negotiate the bankruptcy of the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority. As a matter of fact, in the last 5 days, 6 members of the board were summarily fired by President Trump.
During our stint on the island, Trump fired damn near the entire financial board. Only Robert Mujica remains, and given his position as executive director, he can only be fired by a vote of the board, which no longer exists. So, he can't be fired.
Mr. Mujica, I think, is the second executive director. He used to be state budget director in New York, and he was brought in and actually in a very hefty salary of $600,000 plus a year plus expenses.
To be specific, Mujica makes $625,000 a year. Mind you, the board that he's in control of is who determines his salary.
The one before was a lady, Natalie Jaresko, who happened to have been finance minister of Ukraine.
Ah, yes, Ukraine, another place involved in a high-level corruption scandal where government officials siphoned millions of dollars in state funds designated for energy infrastructure.
Somehow or another, she landed to be the first executive director of the Puerto Rico Fiscal Control Board for the first 5 years. I don't know if that has to do anything with intelligence agencies up.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for getting us killed. You think that people like her and Mujica are basically disaster profiteering?
Well, they're taking advantage of a very unique situation where you have a client with, even though bankrupt, with deep pockets. They have not accomplished what they were supposed to accomplish. They've been there for 10 years. I would have imagined that they should have been able at least to solve a lot of the bond issue problems in 2-3 years, and also assist in the redesign and restructuring of the government of Puerto Rico, which they haven't.
In other words, they haven't done their job, so they got shit canned.
The law firms, to the extent they're following instructions, have extended this process for more time than it should have been.
And that's because lawyers get paid by the hour. So the longer they extend bankruptcy negotiations, the more they get paid.
They've been extremely expensive. As a lawyer who bills, obviously, they have over $2 billion worth of expenses.
$2 billion. The financial board spent $2 billion on lawyers, and PREPA's still bankrupt.
Well, basically, they're billing for this super expensive professional services. I have a lot of friends who work for them, like there's McKinsey & Company.
All right, we're naming names. Who are these law firms? Well, like Alfonso said, there's McKinsey & Company, who's been paid at least $300 million. The company has been criticized for conflict of interest as one of its investment arms owns $20 million of the very bonds they are supposed to be restructuring. Then there's Proskauer Rose, who charges as much as $1,500 per hour per attorney, and they've been known to have as many as 5 attorneys present during a hearing, which equals $7,500 per hour. In total, they've billed the financial board $355 million. And special shout out to David Brownstein, who's on retainer for $850,000 per month. That's $28,000 a day.
meaning Brownstein makes more in one day than what a Puerto Rican makes in an entire year.
The Fiscal Control Board has the ultimate power to decide what is spent in Puerto Rico. They have the power to approve the budget. And as such, they also have the ability to approve or disapprove any contract over $10 million. So they de facto control every single expense. Any legislation that is enacted that does not have a source of funds, they have the ability to basically make the law inoperative. They're like a shadow government of Puerto Rico.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. Unfortunately, he's right. The board can basically supersede the law. They control the money, so they control the island. They truly are a shadow government.
It's a very sad situation because obviously Puerto Rico is paying for all of this.
But the island's bankrupt. So when he says Puerto Rico is paying for all of this, he means the Puerto Rican taxpayer is paying for all of this. How does this get fixed? How do we fix the Puerto Rican power grid?
Well, I'll call Harry Potter, come in with a magic wand. I mean, we all these brilliant minds of Wall Street, making $1,500 an hour, and all these consultants doing that. I suppose they should have an answer, no? Basically, I would assume that the Fiscal Control Board has to come into an agreement with the bondholders, whatever the number is. If that is done, a lot of this federal funding would be available, and perhaps capital markets would be open to be able to raise some of the capital improvements.
All right. Well, I think that's everything we need. Is there anything you want to add?
No, well, welcome. I'm glad that you're here and trying to find out how this mess came about. Yeah. And hopefully in 2-3 years, you'll be able to come and everything be fixed.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to get murdered.
Busy week. Finally made it down to the beach. Fourth time we tried to make it down here. Got myself a strawberry pina colada and a pineapple. Girl's got some sort of full-blown alcoholic drink, triple alcohol. I'm gonna take the day off. Enjoy some palm trees and some nice tropical island drinks.
As we strolled the beach, I thought about the interview with Alfonso. Then I did some digging, and interestingly enough, these people are all basically connected. Robert Mujica served as the director of budget for New York State for 7 years. David Brownstein spent 15 years at Citigroup involved in Wall Street activities. Martin J. Bienenstock and Arthur J. Gonzalez were both involved in the Enron bankruptcy proceedings. Gonzalez was the judge and Bienenstock was lead attorney for Enron in a Manhattan court. 7 of the top 10 consulting firms hired by the board all have headquarters in New York. And including Mujica, 8 former members of the board all have ties to New York. What I'm saying is, a gang of New Yorkers flew down to Puerto Rico, took positions of political power, then used that political power to funnel $2 billion of Puerto Ricans' tax money off the island to Wall Street hustlers back in New York. It's modern day piracy. Allegedly. I say allegedly because I don't want to get sued. Speaking of getting sued, Puerto Ricans should be suing La Junta for their money back. But they can't. Because in 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that La Junta has sovereign immunity, so they can't even be sued for public records. The whole situation here is out of control. It was finally time to meet up with our La Perla Connect.
What's up, dude? Oh, this is badass.
Sorry. Morning.
Morning. Yeah, this is pretty cool back here.
Oh, thank you. I try to do my best. No.
Is there more power problems here or over at the shop?
No, everywhere.
Everywhere? Okay.
Everywhere.
Oxy's an interesting guy. You can tell he's been around the block a few times because nothing really phases him.
Yeah, I built this one for Tokyo. Tokyo 2020 for one of my team riders.
You built this for the Olympics?
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa.
Like the others we spoke with, Oxy cares for the Niños and the future of the island, and as such runs a nonprofit.
I do it for free because I know too many kids don't have the money for that. And the Bible says it's more better to give into other things to get, you know? That's the principle of my philosophy. Sorry for my vocabulary. It's not the best, but I try to explain the best I can.
He shared some insight with me about how the Puerto Rican government handles federal funding.
It's very tricky, you know, because here the governor of Puerto Rico, all the money is steal the money, you know.
They steal the money.
They steal the money, you know. The only way I can get something from them is if we get insistent to approve the proposal that I submit to them, you know.
So any federal aid that comes down, they're taking the money, and the only way you can get it is by making a nonprofit and writing a proposal.
Yeah, the governor and the people who working with the governor here in Puerto Rico, they only use the money for the richest guys, right. Not for the poor guy like me.
But it's not just the governor, or the financial board, or LUMA. It's damn near everyone. On October 14th, 2025, the Puerto Rican Senate voted to pass an anti-transparency bill. It was introduced by the Senate President, Thomas Rivera Schatz, and includes significant changes to Law 141/2019, known as the Transparency Act. There's a full breakdown of the bill on my Instagram, but most striking is the removal of the Privacy Protection Clause. This would eliminate the requirement to redact requesters' personal information when submitting an information request. So information officers would be able to see who's making requests and potentially deny them based on who the requester is. Like, say, I don't know, a journalist investigating corruption regarding FEMA funds in a crooked financial board. I mean, that's insane. The only reason a government would ever restrict access to information is because they're trying to cover something up.
Check it out. Go inside. Check it out. That is a shaping machine. But this machine cost to me 50 grand. LUMA, he be here to steal more money, for sure, for the beginning. They don't do nothing here. Every single day, we lost the energy. Right now, it's a miracle that we have an energy here. It's a big problem, but who gonna help us? People who are really want to do the right things, you know?
And you don't think that the governor is one of those people?
No, she is not. And nobody telling about the people this, because why? They are fear. They are fear. Tienen miedo.
They're scared.
They're scared. They're scared to talk the truth.
Why is that?
Because they are scared of fear for get it out of the head, you know?
Like kill them?
No,
or put them in jail?
No, kill them, but putting in the jail or something like that for telling the truth.
Do you think that if him and I are talking about this while we're here, that we're potentially in trouble of going to jail or something?
Well, if you still do the right thing, for sure. For sure. Believe me.
Okay, well, fuck.
You know, this is a serious thing. The governor, the political people here, the police, and the FBI, and all the people, there's sinners. Yeah.
Man, we really are gonna die. And I'm only half kidding. There's been a lot of dead bodies connected to corruption and conspiracy on the island, like Nikolai Meshegian, a crypto millionaire who mysteriously drowned after tweeting about a joint CIA-Mossad sex trafficking ring on the island, and he might not be far off, honestly. I mean, you can charter a flight to Epstein Island from Puerto Rico. It's only 40 minutes. Not to mention Epstein had accounts at Banco Popular and First Bank Puerto Rico, which is kind of strange. And speaking of banking, Maurice Spagnoletti, a New Jersey banker sent down to investigate corruption at Doral Bank, was shot 9 times the day before his wife's birthday. And when Doral Bank later failed, it was largely acquired by Banco Popular and First Bank Puerto Rico. Probably just a coincidence, though. I didn't kill myself. Doral Bank deep dive on the Patreon if I'm still alive after this comes out.
You know why everybody comes to Puerto Rico? And you know why the governor and the United States government want to get out all the people from Puerto Rico? It's a secret. The people don't know that the soon that you can bring more people from Puerto Rico out of Puerto Rico, there's the way that more people of the United States or Euro or the other places come by. They want to buy the land.
So, what about people like Brock Pierce or Logan Paul or Bad Bunny? All these people that are very wealthy.
Bad Bunny is a, ¿cómo te diría? It's a plan. You know who's the owner of the Bad Bunny company? Rafael Jimenez Dan. And you know who's Rafael Jimenez Dan? The vice president of defense of Maduro. Whoa. And Chavez.
Okay.
Okay?
You think he's a plant, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Everybody is bland. You know, everybody is like this. Everybody forgot about the Lord and God, you know. The only way that people asking for God, you know when they happen? When they have a problem. Mm. They say, oh, please, God, help me. You know, please, God, help me. But now, everybody living the life like the day of the Noah. Mm. You know?
The time of the flood.
Yeah, the time of the flood.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's a good thing you know how to surf then, right?
Uh-huh.
So Oxy is saying Bad Bunny's a pawn in a larger ploy to undermine democracy and spread communism using his music as a vessel of propaganda. Well, at this point I shouldn't have been surprised. Once again, Puerto Rico has proven to be part of the fucking Twilight Zone. There actually is a connection between Bad Bunny and the Venezuelan government. Remus Entertainment, who represents Bad Bunny, was founded in 2014 by Rafael Jimenez Dan and Noah Assad, Bad Bunny's manager. And like Oxy said, Jimenez Dan used to be the vice minister of legal security under the Chavez regime in Venezuela. During his tenure, he led the National Police Reform Commission and oversaw public compliance with the rule of law. This whole fucking island is a psyop, I swear.
What do? It's for the goodness. Even if you impart or risk, you know, you're risky. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You're risky.
Well, you gotta risk it for the biscuit, as they say. And as we say, it's time to do what we do. So we hopped in the rental car and headed over to La Perla to check out the coffee shop that Oxy is building. La Perla, the one place we were repeatedly warned not to visit since arriving on the island. La Perla gained global recognition as a filming location for the Despacito music video, but even more notably is known as a place where you do not take photos or video or even bring a camera. It's generally considered not a safe place.
Alright, so we're in La Perla. We've been told not to come here by just about every single person we've talked to. But
we're here.
We're here, yeah. And the place where you drive down here, maybe we can get it on the way out. But we've been told that if you put your camera in front of somebody or anything like that, they'll maybe give you a warning. And if you don't listen, they'll take your shit. They'll beat your ass. Somebody was shot here and killed 4 days ago. And a couple of years ago, somebody was actually caught on fire and burned alive for recording back here. So we should.
Is there anybody behind us? I'm going to film him.
Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah.
We made it.
And this is a place I want to make a coffee shop, you know? The name is La Perla Surf Cafe. Check it out the view. We got here a tree of papaya. See that papaya?
Yep. Do you still surf?
I still surf.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm 68, but I still surf. La Perla is the first ghetto of the whole Puerto Rico. Also, the slave living here in the beginning when the Spain people come to Puerto Rico and they bring a slave from Africa. They living here. They're establishing the first place to living. This is my humble place. Got a view for the beaches and all the things.
Tell us a little bit about how people aren't allowed to film back here and how the dangers of La Perla, because a lot of people warned us not even to come back here at all.
If you're coming here to looking for good things, you find out you'll be okay. But if you're looking for bad things, you're in trouble, for sure. If you don't respect the rules of the neighbor of the town here at La Perla, you have a very big problem. You know?
What's the power like out here? Does it have a worse power grid and power issues, more blackouts out here because it's a poorer area?
We are poor people here, and we don't have resources and no hope, right? Hopeless, okay?
Hopeless?
Yeah. We hopeless, and lunch is hopeless again. Why? Because if you see the bridges or the wall here, we are separate of the main city.
Yeah, I noticed that when we were coming in. So there's tourists next to the La Comunidad La Perla sign. And then there's a road that veers off, a small road compared to the main one, and it goes down into this thing that you're calling the hole, and then you go up the road through La Perla. And it's quite literally like you're driving down to hell.
That's right. Yeah, it's you need to take care here, and you can able to take pictures or videos or all that kind, because you know most of all of the people here have a business, but not the regular business. You know what it is, you know.
So do you think people are getting into the drug business because the government's corrupt and there's no opportunity here and the power's messed up and there's all these issues, so it's so hopeless that people feel that the only way that they can possibly get ahead or get off the island or do anything is by committing crime and selling drugs?
Yes, I agree about that. Why? Because we don't have money. Many of the guys here looking some easy way.
Easy way, or is it the only way?
No, it is not. I think the easy way is a shortcut to die and shortcut to go to the hell. Easy way is for people who don't have the guts.
They don't have the guts to do it the hard way.
Right. The difficult way. But the difficult way is more better for you.
So down that way, don't take pictures.
People live in either of these buildings?
No, nobody living here. Somebody take it, they're starting to make this building for the bad things, you know.
What's up?
Somebody squatted his house. After some time, he wasn't able to come here to tend to it, and somebody took it. He's just squatted in the house. Yeah. That's what happened.
So there are many property here like this one, you know, that the owner living alone and never coming back. Sometimes they are died. The guy who renewed this one is people who have money for the drug dealers, you know. Most of all the people who made building like this one, you see, new one, is people who have money for bad things, you know. That's why they have money, you know, because
they're the only people that seem to have any money.
Yeah.
Joel, this island, you know, what, 600 years ago, Spanish conquistadors and pirates showed up and just robbed all the gold from this island, and it just never stopped. They used to be gold pirates and other power pirates. That's exactly what it is. First it was gold, and now it's energy. But that's literally what happened. Pirates came up on the shore, started robbing the whole island of everything they ever had, all their resources, and it never stopped.
Take all the gold from Puerto Rico.
Coming in off the ocean, piracy coming in, robbing the land of gold. It's a land that was birthed of corruption and piracy, and it never ended.
That's right.
We haven't really asked this question yet throughout this entire documentary, but what is the future of Puerto Rico?
Wow, very nice question. Well, if we wake up, yeah, we're gonna have a beautiful future. But if we still at the same road where we are right now, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good. I have a calling from God, to tell me, go back to your home, to your roots. Remember where's your roots, where you come from, where's the God give you the opportunity to born, and back to do something good for the place that you born. Okay.
Sir, doing the right thing, even if it kills us. You're a good man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hey.
Hey, Gary. This is the man.
Thanks.
I know.
You're the man.
I'd still be wandering around in the streets of Texas without this guy.
Oxy is the embodiment of everything we experienced on the island. One lone man fighting for the future of his home, despite knowing the odds are stacked against him, and that he could be not only jailed, but killed for what he's saying to us. But he gives no quarter, not a fucking inch, because he's risky. He's willing to die for what he believes. And I respect the fuck out of that.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Did I get free coffee?
Yeah.
Well, there it is. We talked to the locals, we showed you the living conditions, we told you the history, we exposed the entire system, and we even named names. And I think it's clear that these people, these power pirates, are not only responsible for facilitating the longest bankruptcy in American history, but they also aided and abetted the largest plunder in Puerto Rican history, at least since the Spanish stole the island's gold. And I mean that quite literally. Historical records tell us conquistadors extracted an estimated 1.2 million troy ounces of Puerto Rican gold and shipped it back to Spain during the early 16th century. That's $5 billion in today's money. By that same token, La Junta facilitated the extraction of $2 billion of Puerto Rican wealth and funneled it back to New York. And that's just what we know about. Like I said, modern day pirates. Congress should be investigating this. The Puerto Rican government's resistance to transparency is the antithesis of a constitutional republic. This is a U.S. territory, these are U.S. citizens, and as such, they have a right to know where their money went and why. And if any money is found to have been misused, misplaced, or misappropriated, it needs to be paid back directly to Puerto Rican taxpayers in full in the form of physical checks. And the people responsible need to be held accountable. This is a textbook example of kleptocracy. And it's because of corruption like this that Puerto Ricans like Lulu and Oxy and David and Rudy and everyone else we came across can't live a normal fucking life. They are Americans. They should be living like Americans. And all of us on the mainland should care about this, because if they can do it down there to U.S. citizens, then you better bet your sweet ass they're doing it to us. God! Well, we came to see what it was like living on the island without power, and in true Gonzo fashion, we got exactly what we asked for.
Oh, fuck. Just went out.
Well, power went out. I actually caught it.
Trapped in a hurricane on the island while there's probably authorities after us and the government's spying on us. With no escape. Phenomenal.
Reading outside.
The power just went out.
Knew that this garbage was going to begin again and again and again and again.
Gary and Joe went down to Puerto Rico to check out the power grid. They found a lot of things. They found corruption, but the friends they made along the way. The government is gonna try to assassinate him, baby. The government's looking at me, can't you see? Street Gonzo's on the fucking crosshairs right now. Fuck LUMA, they're the worst electric company. Fuck LUMA, you gave me an STD. That's not exactly true, but the facts are really obvious that LUMA's fucking me and fucking you. And who